All right, we are live. Sandy, hi everyone, and I know we had a couple people waiting for us sorry we were a minute late, but excited. This is actually going to be a really good talk. I think I'm actually really
Uplifting.
excited. Um, I'll start off with my oracle card because just before Sandy and I came on here, I decided, you know what, I didn't feel like pulling tarot. I wasn't feeling it. I decided I would pull my oracle cards for today, and it was freedom. And Sandy was like, "This is perfect. It's exactly where we're going with this." And it's like, absolutely. And then I often don't read what's in the book, but I got, we're like, let's read it. Let's go ahead. And this is amazing. And it says, "Your soul."
And this is for everyone. This is for everyone because we are in such phenomenal energies right now. It's really important to really boost ourselves and understand we are the ones we're waiting for.
Absolutely, because this is always I always pull before for the show and what people need to hear. It's not a message for me. It's a message for all of us.
All of us.
Yes. All of us. This is a message for all of us. This isn't about me. And it's from my soul journey cards. How apropos, right? Hey, Teresa.
Hi, Teresa.
All right, so here is what it says. Your soul is open to receiving new wisdom and insights that will allow it to make the right choices for its own growth. Remember, you are never a victim of other people or their circumstances. You have complete control over your own circumstances. By following your heart and being authentic to yourself, you present the real you to the world. Making decisions based on other people's expectations is not the true path to happiness. You are responsible for creating your own reality. When souls shift into place of honoring itself in its totality, free from judgment, only then will you find its true freedom. Every soul is unique and follows its own path. Don't give in to peer pressure or the urge to fit in. You are the only one who truly knows the real you. So feel free to march to the beat of your own drummer.
Beautiful. Isn't that where we're at right now?
It's exactly where it's at. And I was like, and we have to not just peer pressure and whatever. It's also these days, it's also FOMO, the fear of missing out. And even with the job, people feel like, oh, well, all my friends had it. I was just talking to my girlfriend and her son who won't get it. I think he's 15 or 16. And he's like, it feels so much pressure. All my friends have gotten it and everybody has gotten it. And I said, just tell him you did. Just tell him you did.
Tell him you did, right?
Just tell him you did and you could be part of the club. Who cares?
Do you know what's interesting? So I was going to try to bring this up maybe at some other point, but it's a great segue to come in. What has just happened? Hi, Lori. What has just happened was Donald Trump just announced that there's enough evidence coming that the virus did come from China. It is the China virus. And he has just announced that he thinks China should pay $10 trillion in reparation to various countries. So the Jacera and the Sarah's coming in. This is the beginning of equalizing the financial systems. So a lot of really good things are happening. And while some people are focusing on the job, maybe they have to do what's right for them. But for the ones who know in your heart it's not the right thing for you to do, that you want to stay truly authentic and organic, trust yourself. You got this. And it's coming. It's going to be sooner than I'm not saying it's going to be tomorrow, but things are starting. We're seeing the signs that things are starting to happen. Trust yourself and stay true to yourself. That's the big part.
100%. And I know this is the topic that we picked for today. And I think it's perfect because I don't know about you, but I did meditate yesterday for the solstice. I've actually meditated twice. But once just outside in the grass, lying on the grass, just letting it all in. And it was actually a beautiful thing because I actually felt like I'm supported by the earth and by the heavens. It was, it was like I was in this beautiful cradle. Do you know what I mean?
We are supported by both, but we aren't taught to pay attention to both. Yeah. We do need the earth under our feet, our beautiful home of Mother Earth, of Gaia, and all the earth energies and the cosmos to come in and connect on the true energy grids, not the electricity and the 5G or whatever we call the man-made energy grid, right?
Yeah, because we're not allowed to say those two, that letter and number together. Just so you know.
I don't know.
It's illegal to say. It's not illegal to use. It's illegal to say.
Do you know it's really interesting, the danger in the middle ground? So, I don't know if we want to go there right now, but what is really coming out for me right now is the middle ground are the dangerous people, because people are speaking up, and the people who try to minimize or legitimize or not discredit, but pretend something isn't happening. Oh, so and so wouldn't do that. Those people are the ones who are keeping this nonsense in play the longest. And as you said, pick a side. Choose what side of the fence you're on. But there's a lot of people who are creating the drag, who are allowing us not to be able to say those things, instead of standing up and saying, I'll say what I damn well please. So it's interesting that there's so many people going along with this, that they're the ones who are, they're like the stagnant energy. They're what is the residue when the termites eat the tree, all that dirt that's around the tree. That's what that energy is, that it makes it hard to move. It's almost like quicksand.
Well,
but we're going to keep moving.
Those are the NPCs. Those are the ones that have low density. But I actually want to do a show this weekend, because I've been doing my homework on it since one person opened up, made comment on 3 places. So it was like, okay, they really want to know more. So I've been doing my homework. I don't know everything. This is about anything, but I actually want to just create a dialogue. And I'm going to do this weekend, probably tomorrow, but I'm not 100% sure. Is I'm actually going to open this up so people can actually jump on the StreamYard. I'll make the StreamYard available and then invite people in, and we can actually have a dialogue on what you think it is and what I think it is. And, like, where do we go from here? And they're a mirror to us to show us what we don't want most of the time, right there. And it actually creates that force, because when you are like, the word that comes is like incorruptible, right? So we are incorruptible in our path, in our passion, and in our knowing,
integrity. Yes.
In our knowing that this is all BS. So they are the pushback. So it actually makes us work harder at getting, and it is actually helping us evolve, believe it or not, to really stand in our power, because they keep pushing back to try to take it away. It's a really interesting paradigm if you think about it in a different way, that they're actually building you up.
They are, but the cost, but there's a number of people that they're taking out and abusing, and this is the problem. So it's okay for the average person who sees it, who they're not affecting, but they're decimating the lives of some people. And this is part of the problem with that middle ground, because they pretend they're above it all. I made a comment. Gabor Mate has a series out, and I like the work of Gabor Mate, and he calls it The Wisdom of Trauma. And I made a comment about social workers. And one of them comes back. This is how limited their thinking is. One comes back and goes, oh, Sandy must have had a problem with a social worker. So this is how they have to they are good at the projection as well. Maybe not in an abusive way, but in a standoffish way. And I said, no, it's not that. And then a few other people commented that Sandy has a problem with the social worker. And I'm like, no, I think you're all fucking idiots, and you're trained by pedophiles. You're all the problem, because your training is inadequate. So they try to tell you what your issue is. And it's like, you don't even know what my issue is. I think the whole lot of you need either reschooling, or we need a whole new curriculum around the topic, right? Or get out, right?
But the kicker is we are not all destined to make it. I mean, as terrible as it sounds, it's the truth. Even biblically, Jesus said, "Is like I said on Nicholas's show. We are in the harvest. It's that divide time. So not everybody is the wheat. Some are the tares. That's just the reality.
That's what it is, right? And we're seeing it.
And we're seeing it more blatantly, which is fantastic.
Yes,
but
totally.
He also, and a lot of those parables, he said, if you have the ears to hear, so not everybody is in tune. They're not, and he did it in parables so that those who are aware get it, and those who are asleep don't get it, because you don't want to give the knowledge. You don't want to put your pearls before swine, right?
Do you know that? Oh, what a saying. I love that one. Do you know, it's really interesting, because that is what has held me back a certain amount, because there's things that I want to talk about and discuss, but I know if I say it in front of the wrong people, they're going to take it and they're going to use it for the dark. Mm-hmm. And I'm not saying I'm above certain things. I've just done a lot of work and understand certain things, and it pertains to human sexuality and a few things like that, which we're going to talk at another time. But it's just interesting that I have the insight not to share it with certain people.
Yes.
And I don't know how to separate it.
That's the key. And I've been watching Dolores Cannon, and we're going to get to the topic of today, which is the energy shifting, because there is a lot going on in space.
That's amazing.
It's really amazing. But Dolores Cannon, thank you, Lori. And hello. And Gladys Selena, good to see you here again.
Yes, Ken and Joanne, nice to see you as well.
Yeah.
It's nice to see everybody back.
Yay. What was I saying?
Dolores
So,
Cannon.
Dolores Cannon. She says, it's not our jobs to wake these people up.
No, I don't think it is either.
Because those who will start to question will start to dig in and ask the questions, but it's not for us to go and solicit them and
100%.
what is going on. They have to come to us, or they have to start to do their own research, because again, it's just like that push of it's the polarity of what's, people and what's going on in these NPCs. It's that polarity that actually will create the divide, and it will push people to become their best selves. And your best self,
I love where this is going today.
not your best self is not the person who's like just taking information. It's the person who's actually looking it up, internalizing it, and then putting it back out into the world in their own strength.
Yes.
Right.
So I'm just going to read a paragraph. This is something that came up this week for me. See, so this is just for general knowledge for everyone. See and appreciate the value of your own existence. And we are going to go into the cosmic energy here. We are here at this time to spiritually evolve. And we do this by being our highest and best self, by embracing our own unique abilities, whatever they may be, because we're all different, but we all have the same intention. We want good for ourselves and everyone. It's about all of us to be of service to ourselves and others in big and small ways. Like, this is what this whole evolution is about, is coming back into our own uniqueness, coming back into our own abilities, understanding how amazing we are, loving ourselves, wanting the best for ourselves and others. Like, this is our best and highest, but we're all going to do it different ways. We're going to create whole new economies out of this. It's going to be amazing what we come up with, right? So are we going to go into the cosmic energies? Is that what
Absolutely, because I'm smart. This week has been off the charts.
Beautiful, isn't it? Just absolutely gorgeous.
Freaking charts. And I know, we had a meeting. I am getting download upon download upon download. It's like, hold on, guys. My brain can only take so much.
And that's really good that you asked that and say it that way, because I made that choice one time. I said, show me truth. And I asked, and I got truth bombed to the point I couldn't handle it. So I changed it to show me truth in a way I can handle it. And it slowed the stream.
But it's
that powerful.
But it's like, it's amazing. I mean, I feel lighter. I'm actually wearing my wings today. Like, actually, and I didn't even realize it till I put this shirt on. I hardly ever wear this, but I have wings.
We all do. They're in our backs, right? Like, they're right in our shoulder blades. We all have wings. So, but it's great that you're wearing yours symbolically too. So can we talk about what's going on energetically? I know I've spoken with a few people about this. What's happened, the planetary alignment for the next 6 months is changing so much that it's going to affect us whether we're ready or not, whether we can handle it or not, regardless of whether we believe or not. It has nothing to do with any kind of a paradigm or a program that we've been running in the past. It has nothing to do with anything like that. It's basically, we're the tail and it's the dog wagging us. We're not wagging the cosmic energies, right? So it's the exact opposite. So I want to talk a bit about the planets, just as a recap. Pluto went into retrograde April 28th, and it's going to be in retrograde until October 5th. And Pluto, I'm just going to give a quick recap of some of the points about Pluto. It's about transformation and regeneration of personal energy, beginnings and endings of phases of life, sex, death, issues of power and control, revealing hidden secrets, big business, police, detectives. So all of the, what we would call the rulers that keep us in place. So that's what's coming up and going into retrograde. So this is all getting shaken out. Saturn goes retrograde, or went retrograde May 24th to October 10th. This is about personal limitations and structures. And that's why we're talking about freedom, because it's so important that we understand that we have the power to break away from these. Sense of responsibility, ambition, career, authority, and hierarchy, our thoughts, our ability to work hard, our personal discipline, and not in terms of being scolded or being told we're bad, but discipline and being aligned with who we are and following our path, right? So, and then we had the lunar eclipse and the full moon on May 28th. Mercury went retrograde May 30th, and it goes to get retrograde again. It's going to be retrograde for about 20 days, and it goes again on September 28th, October 17th. Yesterday was the solar eclipse and the new moon. This is where we plant our seeds. of what we want for the future. So it's so important, the people that were meditating yesterday and today, and we still bring these energies in, because this is how we set new beginnings for the future, which is going to be amazing. It's going to be bumpy, but it's going to be amazing. Anyone who has a birthday today on the 11th, Ken and I share the same birthdays. We just figured that out yesterday, which is fun. But now's the time, because of the day of your birth, the day of the month is when you start planning for things for whatever the next cycle is going to be. So it's really important that we know that if you've got a birthday 10th, 11th, 12th, that you say, okay, what do I want this month to represent? So I pull a tarot card for myself. I do a birthday reading, but I checked this morning's, and it's the Hermit. So then I went in back into the Hermit energy, and it's absolutely amazing what's going to be coming out in the next month, even though I'm going to be going inward. So there's no right or wrong. Just know that we all play a different role. Jupiter goes retrograde June 21st. That's the same day as the summer equinox, June 21st. It goes retrograde till October 17th. Jupiter's the happy-go-lucky, all the abundance and the fun-loving things in the world. Neptune goes retrograde on June 26th. Neptune is the planet of mysticism, transcendence, psychic impulses, and many people are going through seeing dimensional shifts right now. Things are disappearing, reappearing. We're teleporting. Things are starting to happen. So this is happening whether we're ready or not. Sympathy, or sensitivity and empathy, the mentally ill. So I'm going to call the mentally ill the people who have no conscience and don't care about others. That's what, to me, the mental illness is. It's a lack of being able to feel. Charities, religious institutions, retreat from society. And then Uranus goes in on August 21st, which is rebellion, unconventionality, breaking down old structures, new ways of thinking and acting, innovation and invention. So people who've done the work and really done a lot of clearing right now, you're ready to move forward. You move forward no matter what, because if something comes up to clear, then you go back and deal with it. But now the momentum has shifted. You're not in the past clearing primarily. You're moving forward. Something comes up, you go back and deal with it, and then you move forward again, right? This is what's going on in the cosmos, and why this is so important. This is going to give us the opportunity to stand in our power. And that's what this is all about, right? The freedom to be able to make the choices we want, to understand that the future is ours to shape. We don't care what happens. I don't care what goes wrong in the world right now, because that is just showing us what needs to fall down. But we decide what we're going to create. And that's why it's so imperative to focus on the good, even if we're experiencing bad things that are happening. So somebody was sharing with me this week that this is an absolutely hilarious story. They got scolded at the beer store and shamed at the beer store and wrote a letter. And the beer store basically blew him off. I'm just going to paraphrase this. The beer store blew him off. So then he found out there's a beer store ombudsman in Ontario. An ombudsman for the beer store. You can't make this up. So then they tried to pass the buck, send it back and forth. Well, then they sent him a letter. I'm just going into the generalized story here. Then they sent him a letter and asked him to sign the do not disclose document. So this is how they all get away with it. Oh, don't talk to anybody. It's all about privacy. Yeah. Oh, you can't use these letters and these numbers together. So the silencing that goes on in our system is just, it's just beyond.
They're trying to hold on to the powers.
Totally, right? But the beer store ombudsman, like and a do not disclose over the beer store.
This is Canada. You told me that 40% of people in Canada work for the government. They just make jobs up.
They do, right? Just to keep this
jobs
crap in place.
To keep this bullshit going. But it's all coming down.
It's all coming down, right? So this is why it's so important,
right? Remember that song Timber?
Yeah, Timber, right?
With the Kennedys. That's what came to my mind, is the Kennedys singing "You're Going Down."
You're going down, right? And this is also putting that in the field. We know it's going down, but we also know that we have an opportunity to step into our power. So it doesn't matter who we are. It doesn't matter where we live. If we've got the intention, the proper intention to want good for ourselves and everyone. So we've got to include ourselves in that. It can't just be about everybody else. We have to include ourselves. We want the best for ourselves and everybody who wants the best for themselves, whatever that may be. But this is where we move forward. You know, I was pulled a card this morning, and what came up was the intentions. Only humans have ill intentions for others. Nature doesn't have ill intentions for any other species. They might have to go in and do something to another species for food or whatever, right? The sun doesn't have ill intention. The stars don't have ill intention. Humans are the only one who can decide which way they go with their intention. We have a choice. But it's just kind of interesting when we look at, that's how powerful we are, but it is our intention that often sets the tone of what we're going to accept, what we're going to create, what we're going to allow, what we're going to strive for, right? It's the intention. and not letting
Absolutely.
others' negative intention block us.
And that's why, you know, a lot of the stuff, the work we've done so far together, you know, week after week after work, is so important, because the way to get clean, clear intentions is to actually remove the programs and the bullshit that's been dumped on us, because
Definitely part
it
of it.
becomes clouded, and you know, and we may not even realize it because it's in our subconscious, right? Because our subconscious is what was programmed as a child, because basically you're in a hypnotic state as a child and you're being programmed, right?
You're in a hologram called family, school, religion, whatever it is.
Exactly,
right?
everything. And it is not done out of ill. You know, your family isn't programming you.
Sometimes it is.
Well, I'm
So
saying generally.
let's don't put the intention that it's not done, because at some point more people have to take responsibility. And who I work with, often the people I work with, they have to clear out things that were done to them in their childhood by their parents.
And
Whether
you
it
know,
was emotional words that were said, control, things that were done that were demoralizing and demeaning. But what I'm going to say, instead of most people are well intended, people have not been taught maybe a way of communicating emotionally and spiritually that would
yes,
enhance their children's lives. So we need to go back and relook at that and come up with information that helps them.
yes, and most people live from a very unconscious state and don't realize the ramifications of their actions. So that's what
Exactly.
it's not an intentional, I'm going to hurt you, obviously, but it's like it's this continuous pattern that we have been living over and over, and it's like a snowball that's gotten bigger and bigger.
If you look at the abuse, and if you look at the abuse in the education system, look at the abuse in the institutions that people are part of. Look at the abuse in religion. So they say it's not intentional, but they are in those.
I'm talking about family. I'm talking about.
So am I, but I'm saying those
programming that goes in. Yes, they program.
Those people are also members of those different institutions that are falling down. So it has been estimated, research I've done, 80% of families have dysfunction, either this much or this much, and it really doesn't matter how much it is. We need to understand, where is that dysfunction? Why is it happening? It may be happening intentionally, or it may be because somebody has low self-esteem, but you are still responsible for how you affect other people.
I would say it's higher than 80%. That I think is a low figure for, I think most, I would say 90 to 95% of families are dysfunctional.
Yeah, I don't know. I just, something I'd read once that said 80, but even if both of us,
I don't know, a non-dysfunctional
somewhere in between, right?
Even the good ones have dysfunction.
But it depends on the intent of whether they are, look at all the black sheep that get singled out.
Yeah.
You don't get to say that's just, like, when I say you, I don't mean you, but people don't get to say, people don't get to say, oh, that's just a subconscious thing that we do. So I was reading up on black sheep one time, and this is the mental health story. They say, well, somebody in the family, one of them chooses to be the golden child and one chooses to be the black sheep. That's like saying one child chooses to go underground and be sodomized by the satanic ritual abuse that's happening down there. Nobody agreed to do that. Do you know? So we have to start looking at the intention of even how we're trying to not slough off, but how we're even looking at how we're cutting people slack.
I'm not doing it. I'm not saying this in a way to cut people slack. I'm saying it in a way that it's, you know what? I don't really give a shit about the person who did it. I got to work on me, because that's the only thing I can control. And then, I mean, if I realize that somebody has been manipulating or hurting me, you know what? You have to make choices. Everything in life is a choice. You know, when you become an adult, and, you know, we talked about it with Pam the other day. It's like, you know, these people, it's like, you know, the abusers and then they go, oh, well, they were abused. Well, I don't fucking care. Excuse my French, people. But I don't give a shit what happened to them before, because they made a conscious choice to continue the pattern. That is not a get out of jail free card. That is, you should have known better, actually.
Right.
In my mind.
But that's the mental health training again that brings that kind of stuff in. So I'm saying, in families, we say that it's not intentional. It is some ways, because if you're targeting a black sheep, or you need somebody who you have to make an example of within the family. So I hear some families say, oh, this stays in our family. This is our business. We're private. Then you're doing something wrong if you have to be that clandestine. I'm just saying, I don't believe that it's as subconscious as people want us to believe, is what I guess I'm saying.
I think in the average, I'm not talking about the extremes. Yeah. I'm talking about in the average family. Like I think about my family, you know, a pretty average family. And I was the black sheep growing up. And why was I the black sheep? Because I wanted to think for myself. I didn't
It's usually all it takes.
I didn't follow the norms. I questioned things and I pushed back on boundaries. So I was the black sheep. So you give me, I can only go this far. And I'm like, no, I think I want to go further. So I was the one who was willing to test it.
Right.
And that's why I was the black sheep. And now I'm the golden child, because guess what? Oh, my mom is totally awake and I'm awake, and she can actually have the most deep conversations with me than anybody else. So
A lot of people aren't. A lot of people can't say that about their parents, right?
No.
And I know a lot of people cannot. Their parents are not waking up. They're not going to wake up, and it's not about judgment on parents.
No.
But they still. My point is, they still were suppressed. Basically, when you create a black sheep or you create a divide, you are suppressing one of those.
We're in a time right now, and I actually want to bring this to a very positive, because right now I think we're in an incredible time in history. We are changing things in a way that will this isn't the loop anymore.
Totally.
I don't believe we're actually going to do this again and again and again and again. We actually are at the most amazing time in the history of the universe, that we are
for the last 26,000 years
breaking down this paradigm of manipulation and victimization and all of the horrible things that have been going on this planet. We are ending it once and for all, and we're all here. And you guys here in the chat and are watching this after the fact, guess what? We're on the front lines. We got front row seats to the greatest show on freaking earth ever happened. And as much as it's difficult, and as much as the ugly that bubbles up, remember, it's coming to an end. We're actually bringing it down. And so instead of focusing on all the shit, you need to know what it is. 100%. We need to know what it is, because if you don't know what it is, you can't stop it from happening again. And that is the key. But let's take it and flip it. This is what they've been doing to us our entire existence. Is everything good is bad, bad is good. Everything is inverted. Let's flip the script on. We're flipping the script back on them.
Back to where it should be. Totally.
Back to where it should be. And these energies that are coming in right now are
helping.
They're giving us the push to do it. And then, so even though the eclipse was yesterday, from what I understand, the 9th, 10th, and 11th, these are pretty powerful energies. They're still around. So if you haven't done a meditation to bring in and to harness your power, because it's all about you, not about me, it's about you, harness your power and push this new amazing agenda where we get rid of these evil doers and these evil things once and for all. Like what Patty and I talked about, it's like creating this new space, right? To bring in the healing, to bring in the good, the light,
and that's even more than focusing on the darkness, because the darkness is going to be here for a little while, but that's not going to be the end game. The end game is the light and being our best self, our highest self, calling in our abilities, our past abilities, knowing that we want to expand and grow. How do we want to expand and grow? And the next point I was going to make is such a beautiful time right now to repattern our brain. So when we look at things and say, okay, we saw this has happened in the past, or we maybe have spoke a certain way and we don't want to speak that way anymore, we program our brain, we program our minds, we program our hearts, we reprogram our intuition, and then we put it on wash, rinse, repeat until we get it.
Yep.
Keep trying. So if you catch yourself, you're trying to create a new pattern, maybe you want to be positive, you don't want to go into negative thoughts, and you catch yourself, retrain your brain right then and go back into the positive. You catch yourself thinking a negative thought again, and maybe the negative thought is I'm not good enough. Like, it doesn't have to be a catastrophic negative thought, but it's still going to hold you back, right? And yeah, I am good enough. So absolutely mirror it and flip it right over. And every time you catch yourself saying something maybe negative about yourself, or I'm not smart enough, or I'm not good enough, or I always doubt myself, flip it. I don't have to doubt myself anymore. I know what I'm doing. I trust in myself. So keep, like when I say wash, rinse, and repeat until you get it, keep doing it until you get it. They say it takes 21 days to change a habit. And I remember one time I wanted to try to go to work in a different route. I got up in the morning and I was halfway there and I thought, oh, I forgot to go the different route. I think it might be quicker. Next time, get up, right? Go to work. Maybe I'm a quarter of the way there. Oh, I forgot I was going to go to that different route, try a different route. And then the next time you get up and you're in the car and you back out of the driveway and you go, oh, I'm going to go the new route. So sometimes it takes a few times to catch yourself. And it's the same as what you're talking about giving your dog charcoal. Oh, meant to do it. You might have written it down today that you're going to do it. But you keep practicing, you keep bringing it up until you go ahead and do it. And that's how you create a new pattern through repetition, through the NLP that they programmed us all in the wrong way. Now we reprogram ourselves in a positive way, right? Absolutely. So that is so important, right?
And another thing, it's not just your personal negative thoughts, because a lot of people go, oh, the world will never change. This will never change. The government will always do this. We got to stop all that, because guess what? Those systems are all coming down. And when you say those words, it has power, and it can perpetuate the cycle. And so it's not even just, I'm not good enough. Well, that's the government will always be.
But that's not us who says it. That's not this group. This group is looking for change. We are the change. So those would be the normies, or the people who don't want things to change. So they're trying to program it not to change. They might be government workers, have government pensions, government benefits. You know what I mean? Like, so they might have it what they consider a good 3D life in the physical reality and don't want anymore. So they say, oh, it'll never change, which means they don't want to change. And that's okay, but they're not us. We're more powerful. Not. And we shine brighter as light.
The beauty is if what I am learning and hearing, they're going to get to keep it, because as we split off to 5D, they get to stay in the chaos. We actually go to the beautiful place that, for a split second, I actually got to experience this week. And it was like, oh, wow. And we can all do it. It was like a instantaneous walking the dog. I ended up in a different place for a split second. And that's what made me realize that, you know what? Yeah, it feels different.
It's going to be different because we're on a different dimension, right? And that's what I think, the multi-dimensionality, a lot of these dimensions, the lines between the dimensions is going to fall away. This is why it's going to be important that we create our reality, that if we start thinking about something and we create it, you start thinking about something and then you teleport there. I'm not convinced. The old structure is falling away too. It's not that they're going to get to keep the old way. Who knows? I'm not saying I'm right.
I don't know either. And you know what? I don't care, because I'm not staying.
I don't even care.
I'm going. I'm sorry. I'll do whatever it takes to raise my vibration to get to the other side.
5D will be the sun and 3D will be stuck in the clouds. Interesting, Teresa. Interesting. So we all have different ideas of what's going to happen, whatever. We don't know. All we know is we're prepared for it. We want better than what we've got now. And we don't accept the old structures. We want new. And it's interesting because right now, when we cast off all the distractions and all the things that are designed to keep us not developing ourselves, what's going to happen when we start creating new careers, new hobbies, new pastimes, new interests, the way we're meant to do? This is what's going to be an interesting shift that's going to happen. And we were talking about this yesterday. When you look in the 60s, all the feminist movement, Gloria Steinem, and they want equal pay for equal work, all that was designed to do is to keep everybody in employee mentality. Where was the university programs that taught us how to be entrepreneurs, do what you love and make a great living doing it? So this is what we're going to come back into, I think, right? And this is part of jumping into the human potential movement. We are the energy. We are the potential to create amazing things going forward. So this is what we're here to do, right? So this is why it's so important that we understand these 3 days, how important this energy is, that we create the mindset and the heart set of what we want to experience going forward. So it's
absolutely.
Really powerful.
This is a crazy month because we've also got the solstice at the end of the month, which I think actually is going to help bring in a lot of this stuff we're calling in. And what I think, and we talked about it yesterday, is this so important right now for us to evolve into who we're supposed to be, because many of us are feeling the symptoms of 5D, the headaches, the aches and pains, the ringing in the ears. This, like I said, I think what we're doing is we're changing that reptilian brain. You know how they've tried to shut down our pineal gland, right? Instead, we're all working on opening up our hearts, so that we can actually receive the light. But at the same time, some of this stuff is also killing that reptilian brain, because we can't take that reptilian brain and this carbon body
heartlessness,
to the next level. And so all the stuff we're feeling as we grow and we release and we change what's been going on. And one of the things I did this morning was I actually freed myself of some karma. I was like, all right, we're going to burn some karma contracts because you can't bring karma to the 5D either. So I actually did, I actually picked some of the ones I think that are out there that I maybe, and I actually was like, we've either done it or we haven't, but either way, I forgive myself. I forgive that other person if we weren't able to. And I made a stack of them, doused it in gasoline and lit them on fire. All in my head, guys, all in my head. And let me tell you, I actually watched it go to the crinkling on the edges of all these papers and these contracts until it was completely ashes. And I came into here whoa, I feel lighter and freer. Again, I got my wings. Maybe that's why I chose this. Because it's I actually do feel you start to release some of that karmic junk that, isn't serving us anymore. And where we're going, we won't have it.
I think a lot of that, a lot of the work that many people are doing, and when we understand the role shame and guilt play and those lower frequencies, that sometimes people are putting you into those emotional states, you don't need them anymore. And when you realize things that you've come through in your life, you realize that's just something that happened. It's not who you are. And you release the charge of it. You release the cord, you release the trigger, you release if it's still nagging at you a little bit, you just release it. We're not going to need it anymore, because when we go into whatever this energy that we're going into, we are going to be so multidimensional. We're going to want to be present in all forms of states, whatever energy we're in. And we can't do that if you're stuck in the past, because you don't want to pop back in the past if that's where your attention goes. And what's really interesting, I don't mean this to mean, this is no judgment, but my neighbors behind me, they have a dog, beautiful dog, absolutely love Tucker. And Tucker, they throw a ball against the wall for him. Tucker goes and gets the ball, brings it back. They throw it's a Nerf ball, so it's not loud. It's not offensive to be on the other side and hear it. Well, I was outside having dinner last night, and I could hear them going, "Where is it, Tucker? Where is it?" Normally, they don't come back to the fence because the dog gets it. Anyways, they're looking for it, and they go, "I don't know where it is. I don't know where it is." And I'm eating my dinner. I'm not saying anything to them. It's a high fence. I can't see them. Anyways, so then finally the one guy goes, "I don't know if it's in the tree. I can't see it." He goes, "Maybe it went over the fence." And I said, and then I realized they were at my fence, not at the talking about the neighbors. And I went back and I said, "So what are you looking for?" And I said, "Did you lose a ball?" And they said, "Yeah." And I go, "What color is it?" And the one guy goes, "It's neon green." And I'm looking around, I go, "I don't see it." And he goes, "Oh my God, it's right in front of me the whole time." So even the normies are going to get glitched out. Yeah. I started laughing, and I wasn't laughing at him, but I'm thinking they're going to get the truth no matter what. They're going to start wondering, why can't I find this? Why is it not here? How did that just disappear and show up? The normies are going to get it one way or the other. We don't have to wake them up. They're going to get woken up by shock.
Yeah, and that was a big lesson for me. Well, yeah, actually, it was a confirmation of a lesson of the letting go. Remember, I think I talked about that last couple of weeks, is actually really letting go and stopping this.
You have to worry about everything. You have to worry about everybody else.
Everybody else's path. And it was it was like, I'm free of it. I actually had I'm free of it. Okay, it's gone. I actually got to see that was in my reaction. I used to get angry. I used to get angry with these stupid people in their masks and gloves in the car all by themselves.
And I would never get angry with that. Who cares? I would
just be so frustrated. It would be like, come on. It was like what you were saying. It's like, the more you people do this, the longer we're stuck in this.
Yes.
And then I realized, guess what? I don't really give a shit. You do you. I do me. Yeah, I get you're stupid. And I believe you're an NPC, because no person with a real consciousness would actually do that. So what am I going to do? You're an NPC.
You never know. People have to make the choice.
In my movie. You're an extra in my movie, and now I can actually go, okay.
People have to make their own choice. If they want to wear one, let them wear one. Look how many people in China wear them just because of the pollution. People can have all kinds of reasons for it. I don't judge it one way or another. People have to make their own choices, right?
You do know that whole thing with China, when they started wearing it, was actually, and us seeing those pictures was to program us that it's okay to wear them outside and not.
It was, I think, a lot to do with the smog, because it wasn't mandated or anything like that. I'm talking years ago, they've been wearing them. I would go in Toronto sometimes years ago and people are wearing them, and I'd be like, whatever, get your vibration high enough. If you're shining as the love and the light, things aren't going to land on you. That's not how it works, right?
Yeah.
This is a great time to look at, if we're holding ourselves back, stop being so boring. Show who you really are. Show us your wings.
It's okay to be weird. We're supposed to be. We're not all supposed to be the same. This
Right.
cookie cutter world where, you go to school and everybody's supposed to behave the same way, look the same. Isn't that why we wear uniforms to school, and they became so popular even in public and Catholic schools here in Canada, because we have both. So that you all look the same. It's actually to take away your individuality. And that's what they did in China, where everybody had to wear the same sort of, remember, everybody used to wear gray when it was totally like seriously communist.
Everything's designed to take away the individuality and the uniqueness of us. Everything is designed to do that, right?
And it's okay to be weird, and it's okay to have fun in your own way, and just be you.
Be unique, right? So I have questions for people, whether they want to answer this or not. But think about what it is that you want to learn in life. Like, you want to know about astrology, gematria, numerology. Do you want to know about the crystals, the ley lines, the earth energies? Think about what it is you want to know. Do you want to know how the star system works, the constellation? Do you want to know what the Tesla coils are like? Somebody just showed me online, they had a Tesla coil on their workbench, and they took 2 light bulbs still in the package and brought it near the Tesla coil, and they lit up. So there's so much out there. What do we want to know? Everybody's got a different skill set. Everybody has a different desire, but it's okay now that it's time, right, for us to start dreaming for what it is we really want. That is so important. If you, maybe you're here to teach, you've got a certain amount of information or a way of looking at things or presenting something. So what is it you want to teach? Is it art? Is it going to be poetry? Is it going to be music tuned at the right frequency? Is it going to be dance? Is it going to be like me? I would love to go back and look through the real Sumerian tablets and go through all the scrolls and actually find out what the truth is. That's what I like to do, right? So everybody's got their own idea of what they want to, how they want to contribute. But this is the time, these 3 days, to start imagining for yourself. What is it you want to do? What is it you want to be? What is it you want to share? What really lights you up, right? And I was going to say this: the more we learn and remember who we are, the better chance we have to survive what's coming. Because the dark side is not going to stop. Doesn't matter. We're going to out vibrate them, but we still want to know who we are so that they can't create this freak show again.
Yeah, and the kicker is I actually want to just remind people, like, don't focus on dates and what's going on so much. Like I've said many times, take a peek at what's going on, because it's important to be informed. But don't hold on. Where I think so many of us held on so tight to certain dates, that this was going to happen this day, and then it didn't happen, and crashes your universe. Instead, it's right now is the time to actually figure ourselves out and to raise our own vibration. And as we do that, then we move that timeline forward, because the energy, this good energy, accumulates and can help move this forward. And then until, and often they talk about, you have to have so much consciousness and blah, blah, blah. Fine. Then we need that consciousness is us raising ourselves, not thinking about when Donald Trump is going to be back, or when none
of it matters,
or when is this going to happen? Who cares? I need to be the best me. And as I raise that vibration, I raise the vibration of the entire earth, because the earth is vibrating and evolving with us, right? And
I think we're evolving with or without us. With the Schumann resonance, she's evolving with or without us, right? But it's up to us to decide if we want to go with her.
I'm not being left behind. Sorry.
Yeah. I want to enjoy the ride. I want to enjoy the ride.
It can be fun. It can be crazy. It can be frustrating. It can be so many things. If we just have to keep the focus.
And we're all keeping the focus, right? One, what we're talking about too is the fear. So one thing I've been saying lately is ditch the fear. There's no room for fear on this ride. We don't know what's going to happen. Who cares? It doesn't matter whatsoever. And I thought it was interesting because everybody's watching, trying to figure what's going on, like you said, in timelines. And then it was just announced, I mentioned it earlier, that Trump just did a speech, a presentation, and says that the virus did originate in Wuhan, and that he thinks China owes the world $10 trillion and they're getting off cheap. So I think the resets, it's going to start happening, but we're not going to see it the way we're supposed to. Can you imagine a relationship? You meet somebody, you think that person is the person of your dreams, and you know exactly how everything is going to turn out in your life when you're with that person. How boring is that? You want to have the excitement come in. You want to have the nice little surprises. You want to have the unexpected things that come in that just open your heart. So this is kind of going to be the macro that we see as well. We're not going to know it all. And that's part of wanting security and you know, they wanted us to be so secure. I remember in the 80s, I started selling life insurance, and that's when we first came up with the fear that you're not going to have enough money for retirement. So everybody's working, so they putting the money away so that they have enough in retirement, but they're not enjoying themselves because there's always one more thing to worry about, one more fear. It's all going to work out, right?
And kicker is all those things. A few years ago, my husband had a friend he hadn't seen in a long time. Bumped into him at a trade show, and supposedly he retired. And he was like, "Oh, I thought you retired. And what are you doing here?" He's like, "Well, I did retire, and I had all these plans. You know, him and his wife had saved up, and they had all these grand plans to travel. But literally within months of him retiring, they found out she had terminal cancer, and she ended up dying. And so everything that they had saved and all of the trips that they planned on doing, because they didn't do them when, you know, he was working, and it was, we saved to do it later, right?
Yeah.
He lost it. And he's like, I wish if I could do it all over again, I wouldn't have waited. I wouldn't have saved like I did and actually just enjoy the moments. When we wanted to go, we should have gone. Because
and this is a great lesson for all of us. Great reminder.
Yeah, it's
live now.
You don't know if tomorrow will come. We don't know our expiry date. And that's what this whole pandemic, scamdemic, whatever, it made people think that they were supposed to live forever. It's like, no, nobody does. Nobody gets out of this alive. Sorry. Spoiler alert. That's how it is. But yeah, something will take you out no matter what.
And it doesn't, so the point though is not about that. The point so much is more so about live for the moment, live now while you can, and bring your energy up now, because that's going to be what helps shapes with our minds, creates the reality of what we want to create now.
But they stole a year, basically. We allowed them. This is actually the better way to say it. We allowed them to steal a year and a half of our lives. Really, like no travel, no this, no that, without all of these parameters, right?
I don't see it that way. They 100% represented themselves. They said they're out here working for us, and they've lied the whole way through. They've got the deck so stacked that anybody who comes into the system, you get promoted if you're a yes man and you go along with the bullshit. They own this 100%. They thought they could take from us, and what we're finding out now, we're seeing that no, you can't take from us. There's people who are standing up and saying no. So they didn't take. We didn't allow this. That's like saying a victim of abuse allowed the abuse. No, we did not allow this. They took advantage, and they had no business doing it. We're going to hold the little fuckers accountable.
Enough people allowed it that we actually, yes, people are standing up, but we are still in lockdown, Sandy.
So 40% of the people work for government. They have no incentive to make this change. So they're still getting full salary. They're government buildings. You look at Service Canada, Service Ontario, they have all the 10,000 square foot buildings that are sitting empty. Nothing has changed. They don't want it to change because they've got it really good. So they are the ones, the government, anybody who's in that structure. I don't care if you work for hydro. I don't care if you work for like changing the lights out, you work for the city. If you've got it so made that you don't care, fire departments, I know fire chiefs, they don't care. Nothing's changed for them except for they wear a mask. They're all part of this sickness that we have of entitlement. And this is what has to change. So too many people, they made it top heavy, that they've greased the wheel for enough people that the rest of you can figure it out for yourself. And that's what needs to change. And that's what makes them sociopaths, psychopaths, narcissists, shame-based people, enablers. It doesn't matter. They all own this shit.
Yes, they do. And but a lot of people that don't work for government also own this by following along for this long. Let's get real. You know, there are still people keeping their stores closed, still people who decided that, oh, I will only sell food and I won't sell this over the last, month and a half, because the government says I can't. Fuck the government. Who told them it's not, why can they tell me what is essential? So if I go to Walmart, because Walmart's open, and I need new underwear, the government is telling me that that's not essential. Well, I think having new underwear is essential. You know what? Screw them. But the people who work at the store, so it's not just all the high ups. The people that work at the store are still militant and not allowing these things. So us as a society have also allowed this to continue on far too long. Either you and me and the people in this, yes, we're the ones fighting, but not it. We're still stuck here a little bit, right? It's
I
coming.
I agree. We're still stuck here. And I don't mean it's just the government. I know a lot of people who are not government who are going along with this, or retired people who are going along with this too. But my point is, it's so top heavy that they've got it, that there's enough people
Absolutely.
that will benefit from this financially. As far as the retired people go, they got nothing to lose. They got no skin in the game. They don't have to go out and put food on the table because they've got their investments and things along that line. So there's a certain what do you want to call it? Like the left brain, linear, materialistic society. That's kind of what's kept this in play, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I don't remember what the point. I had a point at the end of it. I've lost it through that conversation. There was a point to be made. But they did lose the battle, because what it also did was it actually gave people time to reflect and start to see. So more people, like in that last year, went, something's up. And I do hear people saying, none of this makes sense. Even today, it's like, why is this okay and that's not okay? And is this really about a virus? Is this really about whatever? Yeah.
So that we know this isn't about the virus, and it doesn't matter, right? So we're splitting hairs, I think, with some of this. It doesn't matter who's on what side, who's doing what. Everybody's got to do what's right for them. But what's going to happen? Things are shifting at all levels. Like I said, if they're starting to say China has to start paying $10 trillion worth of reparation, who knows? Who knows what's going to come out next? Are they going to try to bomb the U.S. or who knows what's going to happen? It doesn't matter. We're in this, and we're in the change right now. Where do we want to be ourselves in the change as this is happening? And it's funny. A lot of people are realizing that they don't need to go to the stores as much as they did. They don't need the retail side of things as much as they did. So maybe things are going to change in a bigger way right across the board of how we live our lives, where we spend our time. Yeah. Because shopping for some people is their pastime. That's what they do for fun. That's it. And I'm like, really? So who knows what's going to come out of that, right?
Okay. I love shopping. I should say I used to love shopping. All right. I used to love shopping. And when I traveled for work all the time, it was the place where, after sitting all day, I could actually walk, go to the mall, go to a store. That's what I used to do. My top would be from one city, my pants from another, my shoes from another. It was great, and when I come home, nobody's got the clothes I've got, because I bought it all over the place. Right. Sorry.
There's also a lot to be said, though, for going on nature trails when you're traveling and looking at some of the, the places where you can go out.
It's not always.
It's not always there.
I'm safe by myself. So in a strange city, a strange country, a strange town, I am not going on a hike all by myself. Sorry, Sandy.
But there's trails in the city that are safe. Do you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't mean where was I? Kansas City, and there was a trail down the side road. You walk down, it's wide enough, it's open. There's a few people on it. I had no problem doing that. But everybody's got to make it their own mind, right? How safe they feel. But I'm saying there's all kinds of choices of what we can do.
Absolutely. And I'm going to be honest, everything just reopened, right? So you can actually go shopping again. It is the last thing on my mind.
Unless you need things.
I don't need anything. I need absolutely nothing from those shops. All I need is maybe to go to the grocery store, pick up a few more vegetables and some fruits, stock up the pantry. Done.
There you go.
That's all I need. I don't need all the other.
So how do we do this to bring out the best in ourselves, right? And I'm just going to give a few tips on how we can do this to be the best we can be. One is recognize and even just acknowledging the highest and best in yourself. Make a list of what your great traits are. What are you really good at? What do you like doing that that is special? I know some people really like baking, and they like to bake and give things to other people, right? So they like to give the what do you call it? The gesture of giving food or sharing, things like that. Other people are really good with intuition. Some people are great with the tarot, the dowsing. Some people are great with fixing things or creating out of wood and different things along that line, right? Whatever you're good at, really great at, acknowledge it for yourself. Recognize in yourself that you're good for something, good at something, not for something, but good at something, because you might not have been in the pattern or the habit of giving yourself credit for things. Maybe you're really wise in setting up structures or computers or coding, whatever it is. It doesn't matter what it is, but give yourself credit as you're going into this new energy, and know that you are bringing something to the table that we need. Doesn't have to be, you don't have to be over the top. You don't have to be the best at something, but know what you're good at, know what you love doing. You create with your heart. If it's baking and that's where you create, whether it's a banana bread, whatever it is that you're making, know that you're coming from a good place and you're sharing something that you created with somebody else. right? So it's really important that we know that we look at our talents and traits and bring love, truth, and healing in our own lives. That's what it's going to do when we start recognizing how amazing we are. We're healing ourselves
Absolutely.
and others. We're doing it. So we're doing it and leading the way and showing us that we've got it in ourselves, but we're showing other people that you've got it too.
Absolutely. And
Yeah.
do it from, it made me, when you were saying that, Sandy, it made me think of, when you were a kid and people ask you what you want to be. And like some kids are like this fantastical, like, I want to be an astronaut, or I want to like do whatever. Come at it from that kind of energy. It's like, now you know a little bit more about yourself and your gifts, or maybe you're just learning your gifts and you just think, I want to be whatever. And it's like with that excitement of a child when,
Totally.
the world is completely open to you, because really the world is now completely open to you. It's like we're starting a new chapter and we get to be 3, 4, 5 years old with that. I want to be when I grow up. I don't care how old you are. You could be 90 and you could still be like what you're going to be when you grow up, because you still have a purpose. If you're still here, you have a purpose.
I know, I agree with that totally. And like I said before, jump into the human potential movement. We are the energy that they're trying to suppress, but that means that we are the energy when we see that can be unleashed and build our highest selves, our best selves. Have confidence in yourself. Know when you say something that if somebody wants to put it down, that you're not getting swayed because somebody else is trying to take you from your course, right? That's just a big one for me right now. Yeah. Totally. Stand up. And it doesn't matter what anybody says out there energetically, what they're trying to send at us. If you're here with good intentions, love in your heart, you vibrate higher than the darkness. And when we understand that, it's not going to take as many of us to make the changes, right? That's what's going to be so amazing. That's not going to take as many of us to get the ball rolling. And sooner or later, people are going to see the enthusiasm, the happiness, the joy, the creativity, and they're going to watch that and they're going to say, I want that for myself. And we're going to say, no, you make it for yourself. You can't have what we have, but we'll show you how. And we're going to switch this right around, right? Big time.
Yeah.
So
we had 17 in the chat a few minutes ago, Lori.
Very nice.
And hi, Amber. Good to have you back. She was
hi, Amber.
That's okay. We're just back it up and you can start from the beginning. It's okay. I do that all the time on lives.
I hear you.
Yeah, but it's exciting. And I think, one thing I have noticed, especially, the more I've been meditating, and you don't have to meditate for long. I mean, to be honest, the other day I went outside by my tree. I might have been out there. I don't time it. I just stay for as long as it feels good to stay there. And I was maybe out there for 15 minutes, 10, maybe even 10 minutes. But, I got the stuff I needed. And when you come out of it, you actually start to feel that energy, and it's a collective energy bubbling.
Totally.
The more we do it, you actually, like I said, you can walk and meditate. You're looking at the beauty of the earth. There's so much beauty here that it actually can put you into a meditative state, and you bring in all the good.
That could be, Ken. We don't know, right? And this is where we don't want to get our hopes up on any one thing. We know it's coming. We know something is changing. And I'm trying to watch, like I said, with the Trump that he announced that China should have to pay $10 trillion. Like I'm using some of those cues that I already see.
Yeah, I think that's hilarious. Actually, if something comes of it or not, I don't care. Like on the money,
it doesn't matter. Yeah,
it doesn't matter. Right? He's poking the bear. He is poking the bear, and you got to love it that he's really brazen in it.
Totally.
Very brazen, and that's what we love about him, right?
Yeah.
It was actually probably one of the things I hated about him, but now it's the thing I love about him.
And I never hated him. I never watched any of those shows. I watched the very first episode of the very first season of Survivor. And I sat there for the hour and I'm like, you got to be kidding me. This is what people are going to be buying into. This will never fly. And it blew my mind how popular those series became. Bachelor, seriously? Bachelorette, seriously? This is reality TV, which was another lie, right? And when The Apprentice stuff, I don't think I ever watched any of his shows. I might have heard on the news comments that the radio broadcasters would have said about it or whatever, but it was like, who cares, right? Never got into that.
No, but you know what? Hey, and like we said before, Ken, don't get caught up in that stuff. This is all about raising our own vibrations, because when we do that, then all of those other things will come. You do it when you grow yourself, because we need to be prepared for what's coming. If we're not prepared for what's coming, it's not going to come.
Ken's got it. Ken has some amazing abilities with looking in different dimensions and being able to see in different timelines. So he's definitely doing the work. He's watching both, right? So he's watching what's going on in the
Oh,
physical
yeah, me too.
and that's growing himself, right? So that's pretty impressive to see what he does. Really
Oh, cool.
impressive.
I would
And
love
there's
to know. Do you have your own channel, Ken? I'll actually go watch.
there you go, Ken. Maybe you're going to get your own YouTube going after all, right? So he's
Yeah,
definitely
you
going
know
to be
what?
here
Because
to
we
help
need this
people.
all. I mean,
Totally.
I don't know everything. You don't know everything. But I'm following this guy. His name is Sam, and he does a series. He's on Patreon. That's called Keys to the Kingdom, and he talks about how, for the last number of years he's been like learning from different gurus, and he goes, nobody has all the answers. You get
No.
some from everybody, but they not one has all of them. So when you have to take from them all to create the jigsaw puzzle where we're putting it all together,
Yes,
right? All
totally.
of us, and that's the beauty of it. It's like, we're all one piece, and we're all bringing our knowledge or our expertise to the forefront, so we can actually help other people put those pieces together.
And it's so beautiful that we're doing this without the need to be right. I
Yeah,
don't need to be right for anybody but myself. And when we know that we're raising consciousness, that we're putting the collective human consciousness, the creator in us, we are the creator beings, we're putting this together, but we can do it all in our own unique style without the competition or having to be the best or having to get some sort of an award or reward or financial whatever with it, just because you got to be the best. We're losing that. We're starting to say, how can we work together and create this reality that we want while we all look after our own needs and collectively make it better for everybody, right? So that's the big push that I'm seeing right now.
absolutely, absolutely. And yeah, it's actually really a nice, this community of truthers. I like, well, at least the ones I watch, is very. It's actually, I do feel like I've got, this huge family. I got people here, and I'm sure a lot of them actually follow the exact same people I do, and
We're all connecting.
we're all connecting, even if it's not like face to face like this. We're connecting in a way, on a very energetic level.
Yes.
Yeah, and on that energetic level is how we're actually bringing down the grid of this 3D.
It is totally how we're bringing this down. And it's interesting, and I've commented about this before. When you look at a school of fish, they all know when to turn in the water at the same time and not collide. You can see it with birds, a flock of birds flying. They know how to fly, whether in formation, whatever, but they know how not to collide with each other. Why are humans so discombobulated that we can't flow together? And it's all been about energy manipulation, energy interference, changing the hertz frequency, messing with some of our senses, and who knows what they're sending out here, even energetically, to any of us now, right? But we can out vibrate it when we stay true to ourselves. So that's such a biggie. I just love that
Yeah,
we've got it, right?
we do have it in the longer we can keep our frequency up, the more difficult it is for them to get us.
Totally.
That's the key, is like we build those muscles, right? Those energetic muscles to stay in those higher vibrations, because it's difficult in this 3D world because it's so dense and wants to keep pulling us down.
That's part of the process of coming out of the lower densities, and I know a lot of, when we look at our emotions, how important our emotions are, because it's through our emotions that we do create what we want. So it's not that the heart is more important than the head. We have to put our whole body into play together. But when we go through things and you have bad things happen, I'm not saying it's okay to have bad things happen, but what happens if you go through and process it, now you make yourself lighter. Like you said, talk about releasing karma, you're lighter. Now you can go higher, and you come down, something else happens, and you start working your way up. Who's to say we're not going to be hurt in the future? Who's to say we're not going to have our hearts broken in the future? That doesn't mean that's not going to happen. But now we have more tools that we know, okay, this is hurting right now. I'm going to let it hurt right now, and I'm going to feel it and start processing it, and not build the backlog of clogged energy that we have in the past. So as we are coming through this, if anybody were to go from like a 2 to a 10 energetically to the highest you can be, you'd self-destruct. You couldn't handle it. I couldn't handle it. So that's why we have to go a little slower and be able to integrate the energies as we go.
Yeah, and the cool thing is we're just over an hour. you go, it's like you take 2 steps forward, 1 step back, and two
Totally.
steps forward and 1 step back. You continuously, you're moving in the right direction, but you may have setbacks, but they're just to shine a light to what we still need to work on. And so it might take you back a little bit, but then it actually propels you even further forward. And it's the same
That's exactly.
back and forth. That's key to the growth.
And none is right or
Our
wrong.
minds open and our hearts open, because we're still in this,
We're working our way through it, right? Yeah. And there's no emotion there's no negative emotions. Some emotions might make us feel worse than others, but it's really important. It's helping somebody work with grief this week. And what she said, she was grieving. She said, this is really a minor thing. And I said, it doesn't matter. It's opening the door because you have so much grief to process. So process over something minor that is grieving you, and that you don't go for the big things first. You go for the little things, and then you realize, okay, I can survive when I process grief. Because a lot of people think they're dying when they're processing their emotions. They can't, they're like, I don't want to go there. And it's like, you're not going to die. It just feels like you're going to die, but you're not. And work with somebody who can stay with you, whether they call that hold the space when you're processing your emotions until you get started and you're confident enough to do your own, right? And there's no right or wrong. Like there's times I can't handle certain things, and I have to reach out to somebody else because it's like, this really sucks today. This is what I'm feeling, but it's okay to feel it. So it's really important to know that's how we get through it. A client of mine, they called me, and his father just passed, and he has a whole array of emotions because he didn't have the best relationship. And I said, it's okay to miss him and feel sad and still be relieved at the same time. Yeah. And he's like, thank you for saying that, because he felt he was being a bad person. He didn't wish anything ill on his father, but his father was his time. He didn't wish anything ill on him, but maybe there was a strained relationship. It doesn't mean it's the son's fault. But it just means that, okay, I'm not sure what I feel, but you're allowed to feel it. And this is where we've got a what do you call it? Like a preconceived notion that if somebody dies, it's got to be bad. Yeah. And the wife had called me and goes, we lost his dad today. And I go, don't give me this shit. You can't stand him. I go, cut your drama. I said, cut your drama. And she goes, okay. But I gave her permission to not play the game of, I got to be the grieving daughter-in-law. No, you didn't wish it on him. I know you didn't, but it's okay to be there for your husband and realize your husband's going to go through some processing. And if you want, and she asked for advice how to help him process. So I gave her some advice. So she's there supporting him the way that loving couples would, but it's like, it doesn't mean you pretend it's something that it's not. But there's another example of grief, and grief might happen today and he might not feel it tomorrow, and he might feel it the next day, and maybe he'll be concerned for his mother and all kinds of things, but feel it. The key is that you feel it, but you don't go into an emotional enema and let it destroy you.
Or pretend to feel something.
That's what I'm saying, pretend.
The social norms, because that's a social norm. Somebody died, I'm supposed to behave this way, right? It is. It
was interesting. Totally. It was interesting with his wife, because we do a lot of sessions, and she's not impressed with that person, right? And I'm like, so just cut the shit. Don't pretend. She's like, okay. But you can feel the relief in her voice that she didn't have to pretend. Nobody ever has to pretend with me, right? But she didn't have to pretend that, this is awful. Okay, so certain relatives, the game, people are going to start poking you to see how you react. They're going to create drama. You know what you're in. But know how to look at it in the present tense and take yourself through it with a higher knowing of how you want to behave and how you want to feel when you go through it, right?
Absolutely. And, when my dad passed, it's funny because I think of everybody in the family. I don't know why, but I was able to process it. But it was also, I knew that he didn't have to suffer anymore. And it was, and I don't think he didn't want to be here anymore.
And that's what I think has happened with this individual and the son and the sister. Like I don't know the sister, but they both said he's in a better place. And it's like, it's okay to think that too, right? There's no right or wrong feeling. And that's what I'm saying when you're going through processing, whatever, past events, things that you wish were different. I know a lot of people wish relationships were different. It's not the way it is, and it's not going back. Like you've got to a certain point in a relationship, things have changed. You're not going to go back. And when I say that, even if it's a relationship like a marriage that's rocky, excuse me, you're not going to go back. But what you may do is create something better in the future.
Absolutely.
But you're not going to go back.
I just continue on that with my dad. When he passed, my dad was a sailor, and he loved his anchor. He used to wear an anchor around his neck all the time. It was his favorite piece of jewelry. Like he always wore this anchor because he was really proud to be in the Navy. And so when he passed, my sister and I and one of her daughters, we were thinking of getting a tattoo of an anchor. I gotta be honest, I was 2 years. I got this just before lockdown. I got my tattoo. But I was looking at anchors and I was like, nope, none of them were resonating. And I didn't feel like my dad wanted me to have an anchor. I'm like, why? And he wanted me to have a bird. I don't know if you can. Yes.
There you go.
So it's just a small bird here in flight. And that's what resonated. I had to get a bird because what he wanted is me to be free, not anchored.
There you go, right?
He is now free.
That is such a great, being able to tie that in, right? Great, to be able to finish up with what we're talking about today, to be free like a bird.
Oh my God, that's my card. It just hit me. Guys,
Freedom.
I did not do that on purpose. I just realized that the card we pulled at the beginning was freedom. And that's was my dad's message. Yeah. I no longer want to be anchored. I want to be free, and I want you to be free.
Yes. Beautiful.
Yeah. And so, and I'm sure my dad wants all of you to be free too.
We want everybody to be free.
Yeah, that's what we're here to express ourselves in our own unique way.
Totally.
Yeah.
So
I think that's a great way to end it. Yeah.
Totally. I think so as well. Thank you, everybody, for coming in today and sharing with us. We really appreciate your presence here. And so many of you, we already know you're leaders too. You're bringing this all together, and it doesn't matter if you have a channel right now or you don't, or you're working on it, or you've got ideas that you want to bring forward. You all matter. You all have a message. You're all part of this movement. And I'm so honored to know you. Like, it's just such a difference, just having the people, like-minded people. This is a tribe.
It is. And, it's like, I feel like every time I come here, I get to hang out with family. Yes. It's true. I actually want to do more because it's like, I love hanging out with these people. They're great.
Amazing.
Because I can feel your energy. I may not see you. And I know you know some of them personally. I don't, but I can feel your energy, and it's beautiful. And it feels like home. You guys feel like home.
It does.
I'm going to give you all a big hug. I'm giving you all a big hug, and have a wonderful weekend.
And dream big.
Great energy. Be free.
Dream big for what you want the future to be. Now's your time to step into your power, right? And we're going to do this.
Yes. Yes, we are. Thanks, guys. We'll see you soon. Next week. Next Fabulous Friday.
Bye-bye.
Maybe this weekend, too. I might do another live.